1.1 shows the structures of 4 specialized cells. So we have A, B, C, and D. So for cell A, it is called the phloem. So the phloem, in terms of the function, this one transport manufactured foods. It also transport water, but mainly it transport manufactured foods. Example, we can talk of sucrose, we can talk of amino acids, even water, but mainly manufactured foods. Then the second one, this one is a red blood cell, RBC, but you have to write it in full. In terms of the function, transporting oxygen from the lungs to the tissues for respiration, we can say O2. Then also transport carbon dioxide or small amount of carbon dioxide from the tissues to the lungs. And the second cell is called the motor neuron. Of course, it's a neuron or it's a nerve, but the actual name is called the motor neuron. In terms of the function, it gets the impulse or the signal. So you can just say get the signal from the spinal cord to the effector. Okay, so get the impulse from the spinal cord to the effector site. So in talk of an effector is any organ that that is going to respond to stimulus. Okay, for example, you can talk of muscle gland. So e.g., you can talk of muscle gland or skeletal muscles, anything that can respond to stimulus. But I'm not saying something that can detect, but something that is going to respond to stimulus. So for example, you can talk of muscle gland. Then for cell D is called the palisade cell. Of course, it's a plant cell, but specifically it is called the palisade cell. Okay, palisade cell. So this is I. Palisade cell. In terms of the function, so these structures that we're able to see, these they are called the chloroplast or chlorophyll. So this one, in terms of the function, it is a site for photosynthesis. In short, that is where the process of photosynthesis takes place. Right. So after knowing that, let's try to answer the questions. So the first one is saying, using the letters of the cells, identify animal cells and name them. So we have to identify animal cells and name them. So for cell B and cell C, these they are coming from animals. Then cell A and cell D, they are coming from plants. So we have to say A, not A, but we have to say B and C. B and C, and then name them. So for B, that one is a red blood cell. Don't write RBC, just have to write it in full by saying red blood cells or red blood cell. Then for C, it's a motor neuron. Motor neuron. Then Roman number 2 is saying for each named animal cell in A, Roman number 1, state one of its characteristic feature or features. So for number 1, which is B, red blood cell, in terms of the characteristic feature, it is biconcave in shape. It is biconcave shape. Okay, or you can say it lacks nucleus. It lacks a nucleus, but you have to choose only one. Or you can say it lacks a nucleus. Then the reason why it is biconcave in shape, it is to create the large surface or to store hemoglobin, which has high affinity for the attraction of oxygen. Then structure features in animal cell, 2, which is the motor neuron. So in terms of the structures, so we have these which we are calling them as the myelin sheath. So then this cleavage here that we are able to see here is called the node of Lange, but this part here is called the myelin sheath. So it's called the myelin sheath. So in terms of the function of the myelin sheath, this one accelerates the impulse. So it's called the myelin sheath. So you can write it here. Presence of myelin sheath. Presence of myelin sheath. So this myelin sheath, like I said, it accelerates the impulse. Then also have the node of Lange. And then also we have the synaptic knob, which is found here. And then also have the axon here. Then the cell body, the entire part here. It's called the cell body. So question B is saying for cells A and D in figure 1.1, name the substance found in the cell which enables it to perform its specialized functions. So let's go to A. So for A is a phloem cell. It's a phloem cell. So in terms of the structure or the substance which is found in A, which is the phloem cell, which enables it to perform its function, is the companion cell, this part here. The companion cell. So this companion cell provides energy and also control structures, because this is the one which has the mitochondria, which has the nucleus, which is on this part here. So it is able to control all the cell's activities, and it is able to generate energy. Then for this one, it contains these ones here, which we are calling them as the chloroplast or chlorophyll. For cell A, we are going to say for cell A contain companion cell, and then in terms of the function, we are going to write that on that part. So companion cell. So in terms of the function of the companion cell, control cell activities. So you can say control cells activity. Or if you don't want to say control cells activities, you can say generating energy. And then for D, chloroplast or chlorophyll. Then in terms of the function, site 4, you can say site 4. Just click this one, so you can say site 4, photosynthesis. So that is how you're supposed to answer that one. Then let's come to this one here. So this one saying figure 1.2 shows an experiment on osmosis. So we have solution E and then solution F. In terms of the Q, the small particles, they are the water molecules, and then the bigger particles, they are sugar molecules. So in terms of the sides, which side is having a lot of sugar molecules? It is this side here, and then this side is having small content of solids. And this is the it's a selectively permeable membrane. So it is allowing what should pass or what should cross it. Yes. So from which solution in figure 1.2 will there be flow of water molecules by osmosis? So as you can see here, the definition of osmosis said that the water molecules are going to move from the region of lower concentration to the region of lower concentration. So this solution here is highly concentrated because it has solutes, I can say. It has solutes, eh? Then this one is low concentrated because it doesn't have a lot of solutes. Low or lower concentrated. So as you can see, the water molecules are going to move from this side here, passing through the semi-permeable membrane, then entering this solution here. That is one thing that you need to know about this one. Okay. So we are going to say from solution E to solution F. Okay, that is the way the water molecules are going to flow. So from solution E to solution F, from solution E to F to solution F. So that is the answer for that question. Then for this one here, it is saying when will the flow of water molecules across the membrane stop by osmosis. So when the equilibrium is attained, whereby the concentration on this side here is equal to the concentration on the other side. Okay, that's when it will stop move. That's when the water molecules will stop moving by osmosis. So at equilibrium, I can say, okay, we can just say at equilibrium, because we know to say that at equilibrium there will be no net movement of molecules. So at equilibrium. Then also have this question here, which is the last question for the first question. Then we can move on to the second question. So it is saying suggest one reason why only water molecules can move across the across this membrane. This is because sugar molecules are big or are large to close the cell membrane. This is because, so we can just say, this is because sugar molecules are big to close the cell membrane. Okay, sugar molecules are big to close the cell membrane. Are big to close the cell membrane. That is one thing that you need to understand here. So let's try to look at the second question.
So question 2, it is saying figure 2.1 is a micrograph of human blood. So we have this, which is called the basophil. So this is the basophil. We also have this one here, which is called the eosinophil. We also have this part here, which is called the phagocyte. Then this part here, or this cell here, is a red blood cell. So these are the red blood cells. These are the white blood cells. So this is the RBC. Let me say RBC. And this is the WBC. White blood cell, red blood cells. So specifically we can say this is the phagocyte. So using the information in figure 2.1, complete table 2.1 by stating one function for each cell. So what is the function of the red blood cell and what is the function of the white blood cell? So for A, since it's the red blood cell, we are going to say transport oxygen from the lungs. So transport O2 from the lungs, okay, from the lungs to the cells or to the tissues, of the body. Then when it comes to B, that one provides immunity or defense mechanism to the body. So you're going to say provide defense mechanism. Provide defense mechanism to the body. Mechanism to the body. So if you don't want to say that, you can just say these cells, they provide immunity. Alright. Then the last one is saying state the name of the component of the blood that transports the cells shown in figure 2.1. So blood cells, white blood cells, as well as platelets, they are transported in plasma. Okay, so the plasma is just the fluid component of the blood, and it is 55%. Right, so that is what you need to know.